Alright, so now that we got those pieces cleaned up, I brought them over here and I threw them in my pickle pot. And I'll let them sit in there for probably like 20 or 30 minutes or so. And then we'll pull them out, clean them off, and then we'll throw them in the polisher and see how they look after that. Alright, so I pulled the two pieces out of the pickle pot after about 10 minutes because I want to get them thrown into the tumbler to get them polished up to see if there's any deep gouges in them so that I can get them filed out and cleaned up to a better point so that I can throw them back in the tumbler and then get them polished up about as good as I can. And then after that, then I'll throw them back in the pickle pot for a little bit longer because I want to get all the little nooks and crannies polished about as best as I can before I start setting any gems into these. So let's just move on. I'll show you a before and after from the tumbler to show you the differences. So now I'm going to be attempting to set some princess cut gems into these side spots here, the two accent gems, I guess you could call them. After getting the ring all polished, good enough to where I was satisfied with, I decided to start cutting the seat for the gems. So for both of them, I used the same burrs, which I used a heart burr and then a cone burr to drill the hole for the corner of the gem. Normally you'd use a round burr, but I don't have the one that small at the moment. So after getting all the polishing done, I went to cutting the seats for the gems. So both of them I used a heart burr and then a cone burr to cut the hole for the corner of the gem. Normally you'd use a round burr, but I don't have one that small yet, so I made do with a cone burr. And then the first one I set was a little bit crooked and it's not fully seated flush. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I took a couple macro pictures to show you. But I realized what I did wrong, which I didn't make the cuts as close to the seat as I should have, but I corrected for the second one, and the second gem actually came out way better. I'm pretty satisfied with the second one. I'm probably still gonna finish the ring, even though it's hardly noticeable. It's pretty obvious to me, but if anybody else was looking at it, they wouldn't even notice it. So I started with the hardest gems, which were these 3mm princess cut gems. The round gems, I've set those before, so they're not that difficult. And the larger gem, the prongs are a lot bigger, so I don't feel like that would be very difficult to set. Another thing that I read about online when you're setting these princess cut gems is you want to squeeze the prongs in the direction of the flat face of the gem. You don't want to squeeze them diagonally because it puts too much pressure on the corners of the gems. So when you're squeezing along the straight edges, it kind of squeezes the prongs along the flat edges and not along, like pushing towards the corner, the points of the gems. So doing that puts less pressure on the point and less chances of the gem cracking, which a sapphire is not that big of a deal. But if you're setting something like an emerald, like you'd want to, put the least amount of pressure on the gems as possible. But I think that's gonna wrap it up today. If you guys enjoy the content or you learned something, hit like and subscribe. Share it with anybody else you think would be interested in this type of content. And I'll see you guys next time.